Everyone's noticing a change in you, and they're quietly whispering because your glow suddenly carries a story they're desperate to understand but terrified to ask about. Everyone sees the shift in you, and their whispers are growing because your silence feels like it's protecting a truth too powerful for you to say out loud. They're noticing how different you've become, and they whisper because your strength looks like it was forged from something beautifully painful. Everyone sees your transformation, and they're whispering because your smile finally looks real, and they can't figure out who or what made it bloom again. People are noticing that you walk lighter now, and their whispers follow you because they sense someone changed you in ways you haven't admitted yet. Everyone sees the new fire in your eyes, and they're whispering because they know someone had to be the spark. They're whispering about you because the softness in your face looks like someone touched your heart in a way you're not ready to speak about. Everyone notices your calmness, and their whispers betray their curiosity. They want to know who gave you a peace they never could. They're whispering because your silence changed. You're not quiet from pain anymore, but from knowing something sacred. Everyone sees the change in you, and they whisper because you look like you've fallen for someone you don't dare name. People notice that you've stopped explaining yourself, and they whisper because strength like that always has a story behind it. They're whispering because your eyes finally look alive, and someone must have been brave enough to light them. Everyone's noticing your confidence, and they whisper because they're wondering who made you feel chosen again. They see your glow returning, and they're whispering because joy this deep never comes without a reason. They whisper about the way you smile now, as if someone finally showed you what it feels like to be truly seen. Everyone sees your heart softening again, and they whisper because they can tell someone replaced your pain with hope. They notice the calm in your voice, and they whisper because healing that's steady never happens alone. Everyone's whispering because your spirit looks lighter, and they know someone helped lift the weight you carried for too long. They whisper because you've become harder to read, and they're terrified you might be happier without them. Everyone sees your glow up, and they whisper because they feel left behind by the version of you they never cherished. They notice how you no longer shrink yourself, and the whispers begin because someone must have made you feel safe again. Everyone is whispering because they sense you've been touched by a love you don't dare reveal yet. Your eyes tell a new story, and they whisper because you've stopped letting your old wounds speak for you. They whisper because your silence feels intentional now, like you're hiding something precious. Everyone sees your heart opening again, and they whisper because they know someone ought to have earned the key. They see your peace and whisper because they can't believe you found it without their help. Everyone whispers because the glow in your soul is too loud to ignore. They whisper because you're not broken anymore, and they don't know how to handle the version of you that refuses to crumble. Everyone notices your strength returning, and they whisper because they know it didn't happen overnight. They whisper because the change in you is too beautiful to be accidental. Everyone sees your bravery, and they whisper because you finally walked away from everything that dimmed you. They whisper because the love in your eyes isn't for them anymore. Everyone's whispering because your silence feels like protection, not fear. They whisper because something or someone gave you a peace you're struggling to hide. Everyone sees your happiness, and they whisper because they realize they weren't the ones who gave it to you. They whisper because the softness in your smile isn't the softness they once took advantage of. Everyone notices your glow, and they whisper because healing made you unrecognizable. They whisper because you're changing in ways they never expected you to, especially without their validation. Everyone sees the change in you, and they whisper because they can't figure out the secret behind your quiet strength. They whisper because you laugh differently now, like someone taught your heart how to breathe again. Everyone sees your transformation, and they whisper because they feel the distance growing but can't admit why. They whisper because your energy feels protected now, guarded by someone who values you. Everyone's whispering because you're glowing like someone finally chose you without hesitation. They whisper because the love in your heart looks awakened again. Everyone sees how your soul has shifted, and they whisper because the light in you looks like it was born from someone's tenderness, not your own strength this time. They whisper because you're glowing in a way that hints someone finally handled your heart with both fear and devotion. Everyone notices the change in your presence, and they whisper because your silence carries the weight of a secret they wish they knew. They whisper because your smile has a depth to it now, like someone taught you how to feel safe again. Everyone sees your gentleness returning, and they whisper because they know it was once crushed by the wrong people. They whisper because the hope in your eyes is too radiant to be self-created. It looks gifted. Everyone sees your confidence rising, and they whisper because they can sense someone believes in you more than they ever did. They whisper because your aura feels protected now, wrapped in someone's quiet loyalty. Everyone notices your transformation, and they whisper because it feels like you're no longer walking alone. They whisper because you've stopped apologizing for existing, and someone must have reminded you of your worth. Everyone sees the softness in your voice, and they whisper because they know softness like that comes from feeling loved. They whisper because your healing looks too magical to be self-taught. Everyone notices your new glow, and they whisper because they realize you found peace somewhere they weren't invited. They whisper because Your eyes tell a story they can't place, a story that looks like both escape and arrival. Everyone sees the change, and they whisper because your silence feels like it's protecting someone sacred, they whisper. Because you've stopped begging for attention, you now receive effortlessly from the right person. Everyone notices your heart opening, and they whisper because they're dying to know who unlocked it. They whisper because your smiles aren't forced anymore. They're blooming. Everyone sees your transformation, and they whisper because they feel threatened by your happiness. They whisper because you suddenly look like someone who's being cared for gently and intensely. Everyone notices your glow up, and they whisper because you outgrew the people who once clipped your wings. They whisper because the love in your life, whoever it is, made you untouchable in a new way. Everyone sees your peace, and they whisper because they never thought you'd escape the chaos they contributed to. They whisper because your silence is no longer fear, it's protection. Everyone notices your shift, and they whisper because they're trying to guess the person behind your newfound light. They whisper because you've started cherishing yourself in ways that make them uncomfortable. Everyone sees the transformation in your heart, and they whisper because its rhythm has changed. They whisper because your eyes glow with a secret they weren't chosen to hear. Everyone notices your calm, and they whisper because they can tell something or someone taught you peace. They whisper because you suddenly look harder to reach, like your soul is under lock and key. Everyone sees your power rising, and they whisper because they know someone encouraged you to stand taller. They whisper because the sparkle in your smile hints at a happiness you refuse to explain. Everyone notices your shift, and they whisper because they feel like they're losing access to the old you. They whisper because you're changing in ways that make you unreachable to people who once drained you. Everyone sees the glow in your eyes, and they whisper because you look like you're falling for someone silently. They whisper because you've stopped looking tired, and that scares them more than anything. Everyone notices how alive you look, and they whisper because joy looks expensive on you. They whisper because your heart doesn't look lonely anymore. Everyone sees the change in your energy, and they whisper because they want to know who made you believe in magic again. They whisper because you're walking differently now, like someone finally sees you the way you always deserved. Everyone notices your growing strength, and they whisper because someone must have made you feel safe enough to rebuild. They whisper because your attention no longer lingers where it used to. Everyone sees your heart glowing, and they whisper because they know it didn't light up on its own. They whisper because the softness in your eyes looks like a secret blessing whispered to you in the dark. Everyone notices your calmness, and they whisper because nothing about you feels chaotic anymore. They whisper because your transformation exposes how badly they once misunderstood you. Everyone sees your glow, and they whisper because contentment is something they never gave you. They whisper because your silence feels like a love letter written for one pair of eyes only.